Hey, welcome to another episode of Grow Deep with Miss Erica. This week, Miss Erica is dressed like I'm going camping because the Bible story we're looking at this week has a tent in it. All right, let's get started. This week, be sure to read Genesis 18 together as a family. Mom and Dad, be sure to open your parent email that comes out every Monday. If you click on the Respond Together button, you'll be taken to a page that has a few ideas that go great with Genesis 18. Activities to help your family explore the passage a little deeper and respond together, unpacking it and applying it to your lives. When you're reading Genesis 18, the beginning part might feel like a little bit of a repeat from what your family read last week. The Bible does this a ton. You know how when you're writing a poem, you might have lines or words that rhyme? Well, the Bible does this too, but instead of rhyming words, the Bible will rhyme stories or even themes or metaphors or places. And the Bible does this to show us more and more about who Jesus will be. So in this story we're looking at this week, Sarah laughs at God because she doesn't believe that God can give her a baby boy. And last week in Genesis 17, we saw Abraham do the same thing. He laughed at God when God told him that he would have a baby boy. The Bible is doing this on purpose because it's trying to show us how two people respond to God when he says he will do something good and miraculous. For our Bible timeline and our map, we're still in the same place. We're still looking at stories about God and Abraham is still living by the oaks of Mamre. In Genesis 18, we see that one day Abraham is chilling in his tent, and he sees God and two angels walking by. Now, Abraham isn't camping like I am. Abraham lived in a tent, and he would move around. He was a desert nomad. The Bedouin people today live in a way that's very similar to the way that Abraham lived back then. Ask your mom and dad later to Google the Bedouin people so that you can see real life pictures of people who live today the way Abraham did back then. God and these two angels are on their way to Sodom and Gomorrah. So Abraham sees them walking past his tent and he invites them to stay for a meal. And then he makes them this awesome feast. He makes them beef and a ton of bread. He gets them some milk and curds as well, and he makes them this big feast. And then Abraham and God start talking.
They said to him, "Where is Sarah, your wife?" And Abraham said, "She's in the tent." The Lord said, "I will surely return to you about this time next year, and Sarah, your wife, shall have a son." And Sarah was listening at the tent door behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old, advanced in years. The way of women had ceased to be with Sarah. So Sarah laughed to herself, saying, "After I'm worn out and my Lord is old, shall I have pleasure?" The Lord said to Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh and say, 'Shall I indeed bear a child now that I'm old?' Is anything too hard for the Lord? At the appointed time, I will return to you about this time next year, and Sarah will have a son." But Sarah denied it, saying, "I did not laugh," for she was afraid. And God said, "No, but you did laugh."
So God is telling Abraham that he will give him a baby boy in 1 year. And Sarah is eavesdropping. She's listening in to their conversation from inside the tent. And when she hears God say this, that she's going to have a baby even when she's 90, she laughs because she doesn't believe that God can do this good thing. This is just what happened last week when Abraham hears the same promise. He laughs too because he doesn't believe that God can do this good and miraculous thing. But God knows what Sarah is thinking inside the tent. And so God says, "Why did Sarah laugh? Is anything too hard for me?" And then Sarah gets really nervous, and so she lies and says, I didn't laugh. And God says, yes, you did. He confronts her sin, and then he repeats his good promise of what he will do. Sarah was sinning. She chose out of God's best for her, and she lied about laughing at God. But God confronts her sin. God didn't have to do that. God could have pretended he didn't know what Sarah was thinking inside the tent. He could have ignored her, or he could have just let her tell her lie about not laughing and just moved on with his day. But God was not willing to let Sarah be stuck in her sin. And so he confronts her sin and brings it up. Sometimes when you and I sin, we have people around us who are just kind of content to let us stay stuck in our sin. Think about it this way. What if your mom told you to put away your laundry before bed? But then later you don't put away your laundry, and then she comes up to kiss you goodnight and she sees that you didn't put away your laundry, but she's tired and she's just going to deal with it another day. So she just ignores it and kisses you on your little forehead. But God actually isn't like that. God never gets tired or lazy. God is always ready and willing to deal with our sin because God doesn't want us to stay stuck in our sin. When God sees you or me choosing out of his best, when God sees us sinning, God is always ready to deal with our sin. He always wants to engage with us and talk to us, to confront us in our sin, and to walk with us out of it. God is never lazy or too tired to deal with it. He's never frustrated or just going to ignore it until tomorrow. God is always willing to deal with our sin, and God is never okay letting us stay stuck in our sin. This week, we are going to do some science. You will need some baking soda, water, vinegar, food coloring, a small plastic toy animal, and you will need an ice cube tray or even some Dixie cups will work. First, what you'll need to do is mix up 1 part baking soda and 1 part water together. You're making enough for every kid in your family. So talk about it with your mom and dad and think through how much you're going to need to make 1 ice cube or Dixie cup for every kid in your family. And then mix the baking soda and water together. Then pick out a food coloring color and add that in so it looks cool. Then once you've mixed that all together, you're going to stick your plastic toy animal deep inside your water mixture. And then you're going to stick it in the freezer. And now you have to wait like a long time, like probably overnight for that thing to freeze. So then when it's frozen later, you're going to take it out. Then you're going to grab some vinegar. If you can find a spray bottle or an eyedropper, that will be even better. Grab those and add the vinegar inside. But if all you have is vinegar, that's fine too. Have your mom pour it into a little cup. Then you're going to slowly dribble or spray or drop the vinegar on top of your ice cube. You'll see when the vinegar hits the baking soda mixture, it will fizz and bubble. It's a chemical reaction when an acid hits a base. The vinegar will slowly eat away and get rid of the baking soda, and little by little, your animal will be free. Keep working on it until your little animal is all the way free. This is what God does with us every day. God is never okay letting us stay stuck in our sin. And so he works on us. The Bible calls this sanctification, making us more like him, getting us more and more free from all of that sin. Because God is never okay to let us stay stuck in it. He wants to see us be free in Jesus. This week in God's Garden on November 14th, we're not going to be at the Doubletree Hotel. So Arlington kids, don't go there. everybody is going to be together at Marshall High School in Tysons at 10:30 a.m. So we would love to see you guys there. Remember, everybody is going to be at Tysons. It's Church Planting Sunday, November 14th, and I can't wait to see you guys there. We're going to have God's Garden for everybody, so it'll be really fun to have us all together. See you there. All right, guys, it's been so fun hanging out with you. Thanks for watching another episode of Grow Deep with Miss Erica. See you later. Bye.